Before we start the video, I'm gonna do a reaction to the Halloween game that will be coming out in September. And yes, I know it already came out on PAX East as a demo, and a lot played it. A lot of people enjoy it. A lot of people probably were disappointed with it, and we all know it's basically like a copy of Friday the 13th. But I don't care. I just hope that the game is really good and hopefully it has potential. Coming from someone like me, I enjoyed playing Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I didn't really play too much of Friday the 13th. I'm like, all I know is that I was terrible as Jason. I was a terrible killer. But TCM, I was a GOAT. One of the greatest. One of the greatest family mains ever. Won like 6 tournaments on Xbox, won 2 on PlayStation, basically 8 in a row. They're all like different months of like a year or two when the game first came out. I mean, like, not when the game first came out. Like, everyone was still new to it. No one didn't know what they were supposed to do. Took like everyone probably like a few days, maybe a few weeks, months. But I had fun playing that game. Sadly, it's coming to an end, and Halloween is almost here. And supposedly, there might be a Nightmare on Elm Street game coming out. I would like to play that too. Hopefully, it's multiplayer. I would like to play as Freddy. Enough yapping. Let's just get right to the video. I hope you all enjoy.
Multiplayer in Halloween is a 1v4 asymmetrical horror experience that pits the residents of Haddonfield against the shape of pure evil, Michael Myers. In this quintessential slasher simulator, our playable cast of civilian characters desperately attempt to save their neighbors and themselves from the omnipresent boogeyman, while Michael fixates on stalking and slaying his targets. Halloween provides familiar elements fans of the genre know and love, but we're incredibly excited to pull back the curtain and unveil more details that demonstrate our commitment to delivering our most robust, dynamic, and terrifying multiplayer offering yet. Michael Myers is a creeping, methodical killer, and on Halloween night, Haddonfield becomes his hunting ground. The boogeyman's primary desire is to eliminate every living resident in this quiet town, but he also begins each match with a list of special targets that supply greater rewards if killed before time expires. These unfortunate residents are positioned across various sites in the map, and Michael players are empowered to use their nightmare suite of abilities to locate, terrorize, and ultimately execute their victims and anyone bold enough to interfere with their bloodthirsty ambitions. Killer Sense allows players to step behind the mask and stalk the residents of Haddonfield. When using this skill and entering the first-person perspective, Michael becomes aggressively aware of his surroundings and the proximity of potential prey. By focusing on targets with murderous intent, Michael builds varying levels of stalk, which aid him in identifying and tracking targets and open increasingly satisfying options for executions. An effective killer always keeps their victims unaware of their presence until those final fatal moments. While historically Michael Myers isn't known for his speed, fundamental abilities like shape jump amplify the shape's mobility with hauntingly unpredictable results. In shape jump, Michael slips into the shadows to move around environments unseen. Not only does this increase Michael's base movement speed, but it also provides access to other powerful traversal options, including Shape Dash, which sends Michael lunging forward with violent momentum. Shape Jump is confidently one of the most powerful tools at Michael's disposal, and supplies unlimited possibilities for iconic jump scare moments.
Stay cool.
However, that potency comes with a few major caveats. Our masked antagonist can only enter and exit Shape Jump while in the cover of darkness or outside a resident's line of sight. The light may provide temporary reprieve for the residents of Haddonfield, but Michael can work to remove sources of illumination by shutting off lights, cutting power, and even catalyzing temporary blackouts.
Oh, God!
Despite the unquestionable malevolence of Michael Myers, his horrifying homecoming to Haddonfield won't be welcomed without resistance. As the body count climbs and evidence of the boogeyman's presence becomes undeniable, local authorities, residents, and distinct playable civilians may decide to gather weapons and face off against evil itself. Thankfully, Michael knows his way around sharp objects and will have multiple options for melee combat encounters. And if especially persistent Haddonfieldites do manage to get the upper hand in an exchange, don't worry.
How the hell? It's not possible.
We've said it once, and we'll say it again. You can't kill the boogeyman. While Michael swiftly endeavors to turn Haddonfield into a graveyard, our heroic group of civilian characters desperately attempts to save their neighbors and escape the boogeyman's bloodthirst. As a civilian, it's up to you to find fellow Haddonfield residents, convince them of his malicious intent, and guide them safely to one of several possible randomized escapes located around the map before they meet an untimely end. This distinctive cast of playable civilian characters each comes equipped with unique stats, special traits, and signature personalities. To ensure no two matches of Halloween play out the same, our team has constructed a vast playground of possibilities in Haddonfield, offering civilians a multitude of diverse gameplay systems to aid them in achieving their objectives and surviving the night. As civilians navigate these environments, they'll uncover points of interest, revealing resident NPCs, lootable containers, hiding places, telephones, possible escape routes, and more. Thoroughly and cautiously exploring your surroundings could very well mean the difference between life and death. And when death comes to your little town, it's probably not a bad idea to head to your neighbors and contact the local authorities. Civilians are tasked with tracking down surviving residents and warning them of the looming threat. Successful conversations with residents can permit civilians to request additional calls to police, commands to find secure hiding places, or companionship as they navigate the formerly peaceful streets of Haddonfield.
Should we stick together? Maybe we're better as a team.
Whether it's a local family friend or the authorities, there's safety in numbers. Once the innocent residents of Haddonfield have been located and persuaded, it's time for the civilians to plan their harrowing escape. Lootable containers scattered throughout the map contain weapons, distractions, and key items that can be used to unlock and access a variety of possible escape routes. The location of these items and escapes changes from match to match, so civilians greatly benefit from adjusting their strategies based on the objects uncovered. It's also worth noting that initiating these escape sequences generates a tremendous amount of noise, which will alert Michael to your exact location. So what happens in the likely event that a civilian becomes another display of Michael's wretched, inhumane nature? Well, their Haddonfield story isn't over just yet. Even in death, they can support their friends and even return as a sheriff's deputy or the unrelenting Dr. Loomis. Once they've re-emerged upon the streets of Haddonfield, they can cooperate with the remaining civilians and responding officers to try and put a stop to Michael's murderous rampage.
Freeze where you are, Michael. You're coming with me.
While he can't be killed, with enough community resistance, the proper equipment, and sheer manpower, he can be detained and shipped back to Smith's Grove Sanitarium. Halloween is a legendary film with a genre-defining legacy, and our mission has been to bring the film's unsettling sense of dread to our asymmetrical horror sandbox. By empowering players to control the tension and stage the scares, we're building a multiplayer experience designed with replayability at the forefront. We'll have more details to share regarding character progression, character traits, customization, proximity chat, and more thrilling gameplay features in the coming months. But we can't wait for all of you to join us when Halloween launches on September 8th, 2026.
I'm going to be brutally honest. If the survivors or slash heroes find a way to bully Michael, it's over. There's gonna be a lot of people uninstalling the game, crying to the devs. So it's like gonna be like Friday the 13th all over again. I hope it's not, because technically those two shouldn't get bullied. Even if they might, get beaten, get taken down, they'll still come right back up and just destroy you. I also like that you can play as Dr. Loomis if you die as a survivor. You can or come back as a sheriff or like probably like as a rookie cop or something. That's really cool. I really like that. Another thing I like is that Michael can use a different variety of weapons. I think like a pitchfork maybe, an axe. That's really cool. Hopefully maybe more weapons as well. I'm like I know that he didn't really use as much weapons as Jason did in the films. I feel like that's what they should have did with like Jason when Friday the 13th came out. Because a few times he had a crossbow and arrow. He was also throwing weapons too. Like machete, like his own machete at somebody. He was throwing it at them like it was nothing. I think no, I think Jason had a lot of weapons in the game as well. Maybe they missed a couple of things of weapons that he used on like different films. I'm also very sorry for the lack of uploads of TCM content. I'm like, I know the game is dead. I kind of wish I could have uploaded when the game first came out, but I really wasn't able to. Now is the best time like to upload any like old and new clips to the channel. Even though it might not, you know, go out to the world since this is basically a new channel. I'm also trying my best to make better thumbnails. I'm also learning how to edit my videos as well. I'm also thinking about making like an intro and an outro to make it cooler. I kind of wish I had some people that could help me with that. But I don't. I'm all alone. Maybe one day I could get somebody to help me with that. Also, if I'm uploading like videos, some clips might not have commentaries and others might have commentary. Y'all know how it is. Sometimes people are not able to put their own, voice into the video because there's always like background noise. It could be someone blasting music, someone talking loud, maybe dogs barking, cats meowing. It could be whatever. So I am sorry for that. But I should be back shortly. And with that, I hope y'all enjoyed. There is another video, but it's from IGN. I'm gonna put up on the screen so y'all can see. So there's like more gameplay of the game, but I'm not gonna say nothing during that video. Once it's finished, I'm gonna just end the video. And I also heard that Gunn might make a Nightmare on Elm Street game as well. I would like to see that. Hopefully it's multiplayer. And so yeah, with that, I hope y'all enjoyed the other video. I'll see y'all, Justin, in a bit. Thank you for listening and watching.
The first thing I did in Halloween was pick up a pitchfork. I thought it might give me a fighting chance against him. I was right. A couple of minutes later I ran into Michael Myers, the Shape himself. The fight that followed was quick. His knife against my pitchfork. I knocked him down, but that didn't mean I won. He's the boogeyman. Give him a minute and he sits right back up. But it was enough time for me to get a head start. If I wanted to survive a night in Haddonfield, that would have to be enough. If there was ever a film that was primed to be an asymmetrical horror game, John Carpenter's Halloween is it. But after spending some time with it at PAX East, what makes IllFonic's latest stand out isn't the asymmetrical horror structure, it's everything around it. Unlike most asymmetrical horror joints, Halloween isn't just a 1v4 game where Michael takes on a group of Haddonfield residents. It's the story of the town of Haddonfield, and what happens to that town when Michael Myers walks the streets. I wasn't just trying to save myself or the other folks I was playing with, I was trying to save the other people in town, too. Michael's here for everyone, including you, but he's especially interested in special targets, who are named NPCs scattered throughout Haddonfield. Keeping them alive means getting to them before he does, and letting them know there's a masked killer on the loose. Conversations are claustrophobic. I can barely see what's around me. Every time I'm vulnerable, every time he might be behind me. But once I convince the person I'm speaking to that the threat is real, we can help each other. They can call the cops, I can hand them a weapon, tell them to hide, follow me, point them to any escape we've unlocked. But even then, there are no guarantees. I can't stay with them forever, but they're better off than they were. Every journey into a house is a risk. Each time, I wonder if I'll open a door to see Michael on the other side, staring at me from behind the mask. I started locking doors, turning TVs off and on depending on how much noise I'm making. I open drawers and scour the trunks of cars for anything to give me an edge, a brick, a long dart, maybe even a joint. That one's to take the edge off. Inevitably, he's there, around a corner in the house, walking towards me on the street. Sometimes the things I've done to keep me safe end up backfiring. I lock a door leading outside only to find Michael between myself and the other exit. Turn around, unlock the door I've just locked, and hope I can make it outside before he catches me. He doesn't run, but he doesn't always need to catch you. He has a knack for disappearing into the darkness, appearing around corners. I don't always understand how, at least not initially. The tension ebbs and flows. I know he's not always there, and I have to navigate the town to find what I need and save who I can. But it can change in an instant. Lead designer Jordan Mathewson told me that the design of Haddonfield itself, and making the people in it, was a crucial part of the story of each match. They wanted to capture what it would feel like to be in Haddonfield when Michael was on the loose, and that meant encounters with a bunch of different people that could play out in different ways. You had to care enough about the people in Haddonfield to want to save them while realizing you might be tempted to push them into Michael to give yourself a chance to get away. I feel it every time I pick up the phone to call the cops and the camera closes in a little tighter. Every time I walk through the open front door of a house I know I've never been inside. Every time I hear a window break. Maybe he's trying to get through it. Maybe someone's jumped out of it to get away. Sound becomes a crucial part of navigating Haddonfield. What I hear tells me where to go and the places I should avoid. Perhaps Halloween's greatest success, based on what I've played so far, is that Haddonfield feels like a place that exists outside of me. Things happen in these houses when I'm not there. Mathewson told me that was intentional too. The environment had to be in-depth enough that you could create your own horror movie. Eventually, I do manage to escape, though not because I finally found the bolt cutters to unlock one of the map's built-in exits. Enough of us call the cops and they roll in with a police wagon, and everyone who's left makes their way over. My pickaxe was good enough to put Michael on the ground for a while, but these guys have guns. I wait until most everyone makes it inside the wagon and then jump in myself. I've never been so happy to see the cops in my life. Then it's my turn as Michael. I get lucky early. I'm spawned right next to another player who is too focused on something else to notice me sneaking up behind them. I pick them up by the neck and slice their throat open. One down, though I know residents can sometimes come back as a sheriff's deputy or even Dr. Loomis himself. Michael is a different beast one I was forced to adapt to. He walks slowly, and when he speeds up, you can hear the heavy breathing behind the mask. He starts with a knife, but he can acquire other things, like a pickaxe, which makes for some truly gruesome executions. The way he swings his knife is ponderous. If you want to make sure someone doesn't get away, your best bet is to grab them. Stalking his victims long enough allows him to track them even if they get away. Locked doors only slow him down. Pickaxes and pistols might look like they hurt, but he'll just rise again. He feels like he does in the films. He's the boogeyman. But how do you put that into a video game and make it compelling to play and play against? According to Chief Creative Officer Jared Garretson, it meant building the entire game around Michael. IllFonic builds their games around the killer. They don't just slot them into an existing framework. In Michael's case, that meant watching a lot of Halloween and realizing one of the core parts of Michael's identity was being able to move around in the dark. As Ophonic pitched the game to Trancas International Films, who owns the Halloween license, the pacing decisions John Carpenter made became game mechanics. Michael loves hanging out in the dark, but why? Garretson told me that they seized on the idea that darkness allows him to move in and out of the world, and that became a core part of their pitch. Obviously, it paid off. That idea became Shape Jump, Michael's most defining and impressive ability. As long as he's in darkness or outside of a resident's line of sight, Michael can slip into the darkness, which makes him much faster, allows him to move through physical barriers like fences, and plan ambushes. If you're a citizen of Haddonfield, you might think he's behind you only to realize he's beaten you around the corner you were headed for. Shape Jump is extremely powerful, but it is limited. Michael cannot shape jump in the light, and he needs to be in darkness to re-enter the physical world. Smart civilians will run from light to light, using that to their advantage, but even the smartest civilians make mistakes, and one slip-up is all Michael needs. If being a civilian is an exercise in tension, inhabiting Michael is about power. The more he stalks and kills, the stronger he becomes, and the more executions and abilities he gains access to. As a civilian, you're not defenseless, but you are prey. Here, you're the hunter, and there's a sick thrill to stalking civilians, turning off the lights at the right moment, executing the perfect shape jump ambush, and simply walking after a resident who is desperate to get away. The attention to detail here is impressive, from the sound of Michael's breathing behind the mask to executions that mirror those seen in the films. You haven't lived until you've pinned a screaming teenager to a wall with a butcher knife. I focused on the special targets and managed to get all of them, but the real cat and mouse games were against the other players. Even if they did manage to knock me down, it was only a matter of time before I was back up and on the hunt. By the end, I was even taking on the cops. All I needed to do was get them alone. I ended up securing a minor victory, even if I was too late to the police wagon to take out another resident. Asymmetrical horror is hard, but what I loved about my time with Halloween was how different it feels from everything else in the genre, while simultaneously staying true to the films that inspired it. As a civilian, I'm not just fighting for myself, I'm fighting for my town. As Michael, I wasn't trying to just get other players, I wanted to wipe out a town that was actively fighting back. I haven't played anything quite like it, which makes sense because despite its imitators, there's still nothing quite like Halloween. If Ophonic can continue to hit on what makes Halloween tick, we might have something special on our hands. Horror films have given us a lot of scary guys in masks, but there's only one boogeyman.